Welcome back to a brand new video, guys. My name is Time King, and today, uh, we're just back on the viability rankings. I just want to make this video because I made a viability post. I can't even speak English. I made a viability post on Golurk and what do you call it? Robert Alfons. He made a response, and I wanted to kind of counter that response, but I could not articulate myself in writing. Like, I've been trying to make like a solid, counter back to his response by writing, but I was just like, nothing. It just doesn't feel good. So I feel like me making the videos easier because it's like all the thoughts are in my head. So obviously I can just say them out loud pretty easy. But if you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel for more PE content. If you agree or disagree with my norm, type down in the comments why you disagree, so I can just know, because I felt like this was a good post, but now I'm having second thoughts. But I still think Golurk is struggling in this meta, and that's just my opinion from what I've seen. But anyways, so basically, here's the post. Golurk is B right now in the viability rankings, and I was like, let it drop to B minus or C plus, maybe not C plus, maybe just B minus. It needs to drop something. I was like, it needs to drop. I've said a lot of the good mons beat it. Like, a lot of top tier common mons just check it. Like, not that hard, and I just don't like. I've used Golurk here, but it's too like. I'll get on to Robert's response, but basically, why I think Golurk struggles is it struggles because of the fact that it's slow, it's easily exploited by a lot of our good mon. Like, I'm gonna look at basically everything that's in A to an extent and show you how Golurk just really struggles to actually do its job. Because what are you using Golurk for apart from actually trying to set up rocks? You're not using it for much else apart from that. Like, as an offensive ghost type, why would I use Golurk over Jellicent, who's faster, who has more breaking power, who has a better defensive typing? But oh well. Okay, Jellicent checks things. Gun Tank can do damage to it, but Cobra Berry just like I used to use Golurk, man. I still try to use Golurk sometimes because I do like the mon. It used to be better back in the day, but it's not as good as it used to be. Frostlass can check it. Stoutland and Kangaskhan just break past it. +2 Lycanroc can even take out Golurk with Splintered Stone Shards after some chip. Lilligant can check it. Aurorus can check it. One of Golurk's worst offensive checks. Aurorus can check it. Sandslash Alolan. Like, Golurk's not the bulkiest mon. Like, anything that can break past it basically has a good matchup against it. Now back to I even named Jellicent, Aurorus, Stoutland, Frostlass, and okay, maybe this wasn't my best point about the pursuit trapping, because the thing is, he said down below it's not easily trapped, but like, I know it's not easily trapped because I had to write in brackets that it runs Cobra Berry, so it's not that much of a problem, but he clearly didn't see that. You'll practically force around Jolly in order to not instantly lose to Aurorus. I'm not wrong. Like, he's thinking that, like, what's my point of naming all the mons that can beat it, because that applies to every single Pokemon. But the thing is, I'm not going to be dumb enough to switch an Aurorus in on a Golurk. Like, I'll take a Shadow Punch, but if I know Earthquake is coming, why the hell would I bring in Aurorus? Because I'm just going to get one shot. Obviously, like, 3 switches, like, I was about to say Volt Turn, but is immune to Volt Switch, so if you have a slow U-turn one, e.g. Mesprit, which defensive Mesprit gets 2-hit KO'd by Shadow Punch anyways, I think I was doing some calculations on that. It's like 80% chance if it's adamant to 2-hit KO anyways, so it's actually not that strong of a mon. And I said you have to run Jolly so you don't lose to Modest Aurora, so Jolly has a low chance of 2-hit KOing, and then you just U-turn out and you get any mon that I mentioned in that list to check Golurk, and like let's say you don't have rocks up. Like if you don't have rocks up, then you're practically just forced to switch out all of the time because Golurk's just gonna die. So, anyways, I said you have to run Jolly because if you run Adamant, you get outspent naturally by Modest Aurorus. But if you run Jolly, you manage to outspeed it and kill it with Earthquake. Now the thing is, a lot of people run Modest Aurorus, yeah. So like obviously, like most people run Modest, so you hit as hard as you possibly can. So like at this point, you could say you can expect the Jolly Golurk, but people are still running Adamant, so you're gonna lose that matchup all the time. Then my next point, I was just like, I see the viability rankings and I see that Golurk's in the same position as Simise and Roselia, and I'm like, the viability rankings. Here's how I see the viability rankings. You can agree, disagree. This is how I see it. I see it as the most viable Pokemon that you can use in the tier. Obviously, what mons are good, what mons are obviously easier to use than others, have good utility and whatnot. You look at B, and I saw all these mons. Yeah, you see Golurk there. I mentioned Simise, I mentioned Roselia. Like these mons have just been like Simise just rose because it's just gotten better, and I'm just like the viability rankings are supposed to show which mons are pretty good in this meta, or define the mons that are actually pretty decent. In B tier, I think these are the decent mons. Obviously, they're not A rank because they're not like really good, but they're solid. They're decent mons to use in this tier. And I'm just like, how can Simise be in the same boat as Golurk? And like I don't see why it should be in the same boat as Simise because the lack of fire resist. Simise has like it can put in a lot of work. It's not as easily checked as Golurk. It can actually beat a lot of the good mons just because of its decent speed tier. And I'm just like, I don't see how that's a bad point to make, but oh well. And then I just started talking about I was just like the other mons in the tier which can perform more consistently than Golurk. I'm not wrong to say that AV Crab is actually a pretty consistent set. It actually is pretty bulky and it still deals a lot of damage, more damage than Golurk does. It like Ice Hammer and Drain Punch, good moves to utilize with Iron Fist, unlike Golurk, which Shadow Punch is weak as hell, but that's just truth. Lurantis, decent defogger. Golurk tries to set up rocks, but unfortunately struggles to actually fit on team slots because it's so easily checked. But okay, that's just yeah. And then I started talking about the nominations and the changes that I agreed with, and yeah, that was it. And then here's his response. Okay, I'm not going to read out everything because they're very free, and as you can see, I was trying to make a response there, but it's in the video now, so yeah, don't think he's going to watch the video, but this is just my way of speaking out because I actually just want to counter his argument before like I forget everything that I have. But yeah, he's like, have you actually tried using it? Like, yes, I have. I wouldn't make a nomination on a mon that I haven't used. It doesn't look smart to talk about a random mon when you have no experience with it. Anyways, a lot of this post is just misinformed and completely ignores what makes Golurk a viable choice for a team to begin with. Please, you don't really explain how my post is misinformed. Like, I know what misinformed means, okay? We don't need to search up the false or inaccurate information. I don't think saying the offensive checks that check it is false or inaccurate, because I am right about that. It may not be relevant to why it drops, because that, like, saying what mons check it, like, to an extent is irrelevant, but I'm saying that makes it harder to use because so many mons check it. That's the problem. Like, that a lot of good common mons can check it, and I say that's the problem to actually fit on teams because it just doesn't put in the work that it's supposed to do. Yeah, but I don't see how my thing's misinformed. You don't really go on to actually say how I'm misinformed. I'll talk about the rest of the argument, but let me just summarize it here. I've gone over this a couple of times. I had to read it a bit. I can't just skim through it. It's actually pretty detailed. But your point obviously I say that Golurk faces competition with Mudsdale and whatnot, but you're just identifying Golurk's positives. You completely disregard the negatives that I even said about it, and you just said the positives. And I'm just like, the positives are all good and all, but if the negatives outweigh the positives, there's a reason why it's in B and why Mudsdale is in A. There's a huge reason why one's in A and one's in B. But anyways, sorry. It's correct that breakers outspeed and carry super effective moves to beat in a 1v1 situation, which is true for, but yeah, it's true for every situation. But again, as I said earlier, when a lot of basically A plus A mons check it, then it's a problem, isn't it? And out of the four Pokemon you mentioned, I could have mentioned way more Pokemon than that, but I didn't want to drag on the post. Golurk's most direct competition in Mudsdale only fares significantly better than Golurk against Stoutland, whereas Jellicent and Frostlass have more trouble switching into Golurk than Mudsdale due to Shadow Punch. Yes, Golurk is a ghost type as well. It has Ghost Stab, super effective against them. And I'm not. And in what universe are you going to be switching Jellicent and Frostlass into a Golurk? Like, he's thinking about it as a 1v1 situation again, and the game, that's not how Pokemon is, cause there's a lot of pivoting. I'm not looking at this as a 1v1 scenario. I'm looking at this in general. You can pivot in a lot of mons with U-turn. U-turn. I'm not gonna say Volt Switch, cause again, it's a mean to Volt Switch, but you can't switch in Jellicent and Frostlass. You have to get a free switch in. Whether it's gonna set up rocks or it's gonna do something, you have to get a free switch in, because no one in their right mind is gonna switch in Frostlass and Jellicent into Golurk. It's easier than Mudsdale, because Mudsdale doesn't have anything super effective to hit them with, so obviously. Whereas defensive Jelly can switch into Mudsdale rather safely, only really feeling toxic. Golurk can get a clean 2-hit kill with Earthquake followed by Shadow Punch if adamant, and if Jolly has a good chance of being Jellicent on the switching, and in fact can even outspeed an Oko modest specs Jellicent after a little bit of chip. Okay, true, and I don't see where this is going. Like, what's the point? You're identifying the fact that Golurk's competition is Mudsdale, but that doesn't really talk about the other three mons that I was talking about. But okay, let's see. You also mentioned Aurora and you pretend that Golurk having to run Jolly in order to beat 1v1 is somehow detrimental. Well, there's two sides of it. Number one is good to run Jolly so you actually don't instant lose, and that's why I mentioned it in the first place. And in that context, it basically does look like I'm saying running Jolly is bad. But again, I'm gonna show you some calcs. Actually, I'm gonna show you some calcs. So Golurk here, and we're gonna use defensive Mesprit, for example. Okay. Shadow, this is adamant, has a 93.4% chance to Oko, and Jolly has less than 50% chance to 2-hit KO. So that's more often than not going to 2-hit KO Mesprit. You get a U-turn, for example, you bring in Stoutland, Frostlass, the ones I said check it so freaking easily, and yeah, so I don't see how, like, I can understand from that context, you can see me acting like Jolly Golurk is, like, and fuck's sake, it makes it seem like Jolly Golurk is bad, but it's not bad, it's actually pretty good, and maybe it's just the way I worded it or the way I like put into the sentence. But yeah, it's not detrimental also, no. Mudsdale fares only worse since it can't even hope to outspeed Aurora to begin with. So what are you exactly trying to prove here? I'll answer your question. I'll reply back to your question. So what are you exactly trying to prove here? It's all good and all talking about Golurk versus Mudsdale. Like, throughout the post, I think he's trying to paint Golurk in a better light than Mudsdale. And again, as I've said, why is Mudsdale A and why is Golurk B? There's a reason behind that. And like, throughout the post, he's literally just talking about how Golurk does things better than Mudsdale. And even at the end, he's like, I'm not suggesting Golurk's a better option than Mudsdale, but at the end of the day, it kind of does seem like you're painting Golurk to be a better option than Mudsdale, because you're literally pointing out all Golurk's positives that Mudsdale doesn't have, and you're pointing out Mudsdale's negatives. So, like, if don't blame me if I'm trying to if it looks like you're trying to make Golurk look better than Mudsdale, but uh, that's what you're actually trying to do here. What am I trying to prove? I'm trying to prove here that it's struggling. I'm trying to prove that it's hard to use Golurk. It's hard to use it. It's viable Pokemon shouldn't be hard to use. Viable Pokemon should be easy to fit onto teams. They're the best of the best. Why do you think S rank and A plus rank are good mons? These are the best mons in the tier because they're easy to fit on the teams. They're quite good mons overall, and they can do a lot. E.g. Executor Alolan, Trick Room, Choice Specs. It hits like a beast. It has good typing, good resistances. It actually does a lot. Golurk, on the other hand, who's down here in B, still has a lot of merits, but there's more flaws compared to these mons up here. And I'm just pointing that out. That's what I'm trying to prove. Okay, on to the second paragraph. Don't want this video to drag on for too long before no one actually watches the video, but I just had to get my thoughts out here. You don't probably consider what Golurk actually brings to the table that Mudsdale never could. Okay, I know I did not identify Golurk's strengths, and like when you're when you're nominating a mon to drop down like a rank or something, maybe it would be good to point out its positives a bit before just hammering about its negatives and whatnot. And I'll be careful for when I make another viability ranking post to actually identify the positives of a mon, okay? But yeah, comparing it to Jellicent and Frostas is kind of a moot point where these mons don't remotely serve a similar role despite them being ghost types. All three of these ones can be offensive, okay? They can all be offensive. I'm talking about as an offensive ghost type, they outclass Golurk because they're faster, they hit, okay, and maybe Frostas doesn't hit harder, but Frostas has more offensive utility with Taunt, Will-O-Wisp, so it can actually get some stuff done, has spikes. Jellicent hits hard, faster, better defensive typing. Golurk, slower, albeit it does hit hard, but it is slower, more exploited due to its worse defensive typing. Okay. Some tier Pokemon that you'd rather not let in for free, getting very easily on Mudsdale due to its lacking coverage. Yes, that's right. Executor, Mesprit, Lilligant, but all of them fear Golurk, Shadow Punch, Ice Punch combo. Consider how often somebody's main ground check is something like Eggy or Mesprit. Golurk's ability to scare them off seems like a pretty good thing, right? Yes, it does. I don't disagree with you there. There's also the fact that Golurk can spin block, which may not be as big as it used to be but on the other hand, Hitmonchan runs Ice Punch, Thunder Punch over Ice Punch at the moment to my best knowledge. Yes, that's correct. And Sandslash A can't spin on it very easily either, especially if you're running Yachi Berry. Yachi is not even that common though. No one actually runs Yachi Berry on Golurk. I've never seen that. Like, what's the running one berry for one? Because let's be honest, Specs Aurora still blows up Golurk with Yachi Berry, with Blizzard. Like, you can't be telling me you're running Yachi Berry on Golurk just for Sandslash Alolan when, if you look at the damage here, Sandslash Alolan, nope. Yeah, so we're just gonna look at max to be honest. Icicle Crash against Golurk. That has 18.8% chance of Oko, so it's not even in the high range of, so like offensive, like not the defensive rapid spin set with the rocks or something, but this is offensive. Has 18.8% chance to Oko. With rocks up is a 62% chance. So let's just assume rocks isn't up, okay? Rocks isn't up. 18.8% chance, so that's less than 50. So you're telling me you're going to run one berry for one mon, which doesn't even have a high chance of Oko in you. No, you'd rather be running Cobra Berry because there's more dark types in the tier that have dark, strong moves that actually have a high chance of Oko in you. So yeah, I don't think Yachi Berry is a good example because you don't really want to be running that. And just for food for thought, I know a lot of people don't like rapid spinning on Chan right now, so I've actually been trying 4 attacks Chan with Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, but not a lot of people have been actually trying that out. It's not really the most common set, but just to mention that because he said Thunder Punch with Ice Punch, but I don't run rapid spin anymore. Which by the way is reason why Golurk's not easy to trap. I did put in brackets that that's stopped by Berry, but I guess you didn't see that. And Yachi are standard. That's Yachi's not standard. Golurk's best options for items since it can run both viably. I'm not trying to say Yachi's unviable, but it's not common. It's not the best. It's not standard. It gains a level of unpredictability. Mudsdale doesn't really possess. I've already talked about Yachi. I don't want to say it again. Since Mudsdale without leftovers is a waste of a Mudsdale, that's just your opinion, to be honest. Because people have been running Figgy Berry. It's not like leftovers is the best item, but saying Mudsdale lacking leftovers is not a good Mudsdale. It's just your opinion. This doesn't really help the argument much. I'm not even bringing up a potential CB set, which for all I know could be decently effective in this matter, considering people's ground checks can be rather lacking. Uh, but the thing is, you mentioned above that Eggy's a ground check, but if you're locking yourself into Earthquake, doesn't Eggy just come in on 3 and you're forced to switch out again, and then Eggy gets a kill or something, or sets up Trick Room? So, yeah, okay. Or the fact that a new guard set with Dynamic Punch is a reasonable option, mostly because Ice Punch, Shadow Punch seems so good at the moment. Okay. Now on to the third paragraph, his last one. I'm not suggesting Golurk's a better option than Mudsdale. You're kind of doing that to an extent. Or even that it belongs in B rank per se. I haven't played enough PU as of late to tell you where it belongs. But what I'm not going to mention anything that's irrelevant. But what I do know is that your argument mostly seems to bank on I already see Golurk, well, I guess it's outclassed. That's probably the worst thing you said in this argument here. I already see Golurk. That may you don't. Number one, you don't know that. Number two, if I any usage does not mean anything. To be honest, usage doesn't mean anything. Golurk is still PU by usage, so I rarely see Golurk. Like, sure, there's a lot of PU by usage mons that aren't seen a lot, but it's still PU by usage, so it actually does get a bit of usage. And he's thinking that because I don't see Golurk is outclassed, that has nothing. Like, he's thinking that I don't use Golurk, which clearly isn't the case, and he's just like deeming my arguments as null because he believes that I don't use Golurk or I don't see it. And a very common mistake on VR threats is your mistake for thinking that I don't use Golurk, even though it very clearly does have several advantages over its most direct competition. Then, if it has so much more advantages than Mudsdale, why is it not A? Why is it not A? I said why it's struggling in this meta. It's more easily exploited. And then he's trying to say, what am I trying to prove? I'm trying to prove that Golurk is hard to use. It's not that worth a team slot anymore. It's outclassed by Mudsdale because Mudsdale's less easily exploited. And Golurk does have a bit of advantages over it, but if those advantages were so much more like prevalent than the cons of using Golurk, then it would be A. It would be the same as Mudsdale, but guess what? It's not. So yeah. Sure, Mudsdale's defensive utility makes it easier to fit onto most teams, but B rank isn't meant for Pokemon that fit very snugly on the majority of teams. How often do you see Raticate or Absol? Again, he's linking it back to usage, which has no relevance in viability, to be honest. None. No relevance at all, because Spiritomb is not that seen anymore, but it's still B+, so like it doesn't. And sure, he makes a point there that B rank mons aren't the ones that fit onto most teams that easily. But again, that's another problem with Golurk. It doesn't fit that easy onto teams. It's harder to use, and that's what I try to make out. But apparently, that's wrong. And what do you call it? My arguments are no because I don't use Golurk apparently. But yeah. Unless you have better arguments as to why Golurk really doesn't function well in this matter, I think my arguments were okay to an extent. I think they were fine. In practice, I don't see why your argument is Golurk doesn't belong in the same rank as Roselia and Simise, so the latter two should rise further. But, okay, rather than Golurk doesn't belong in the same rank as Roselia and Simise, so it should drop. No, but the thing is, you can say that, but Simise and Roselia... Okay, I can see if Roselia is B plus it might be B plus material. But speaking of that, actually, wasn't there? Let's see. Wait a second. I saw something. Sorry. I saw something to do with Roselia going to what do you call it? Philo but no makes inclusion. It's never going to be. Oh, that's December 1st actually. But I did see something after what do you call it? I don't know, but it's debatable whether what do you call it? Roselia can be going up to B plus. I'm not too sure about Simise, but you saying that I should say that Golurk doesn't belong in the same rank as them, so they should move up. It's not as easy as that because that depends on the other mons in question as well. Rather than Golurk doesn't belong in the same rank, so it should drop. But it should drop because it's not as good as the other Pokemon in its sub rank. That's the point I'm trying to make. Like it's harder to use compared to the rest of the mons in it. It's man. Well, I've gone over. I think I've gone over the argument. To be honest, a lot of people are probably gonna disagree with this. But I had to have my own say to it because I'm not gonna sit down and just take the response back and look like I got destroyed or something. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video here. Again, leave a like down below, comment down below whether you agree or disagree with me. I don't really. I just want to know if you guys agree or disagree. That would be interesting to hear other sides of the argument because I don't think Robert is acknowledging my points at all, and he's just deeming it off the fact that apparently I don't use the Pokemon. But there's no point on making a viability post if you don't know the one that you're talking about, or else everyone would just be countering. You'll just not be getting good quality posts in the VR. And I'm not gonna say my post is god tier quality, but I don't think it's a dead post. So yeah, again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.